Did you know that we have channel memberships now? If you'd like to help support this channel, get some exclusive Kawabana emotes to use in the comments, as well as an exclusive badge by your name, click that join button now to find out more. Every bit of support really helps. Thanks guys. Kubikiri Ridge sits next to Mount Shiro in Kagawa Prefecture. At an elevation of 271 meters, it's not terribly high considering the rest of the mountains around it, and it slopes rather gently. Kubikiri means cutting off one's head in Japanese, giving this ghost spot a particularly fitting name. The following is just one popular tale told of the ghostly area. Everybody knew of it. Kubikiri Ridge, the site of a fierce battle between Chosakabe Motochika and the Zoda clan in the Sengoku era that ended in a massive Zoda defeat. They cut the heads off all who remained, and so the area was called Kubikiri Ridge. 7 university students, bored and looking for a little fun, decided to go and visit the area to test their mettle. It was just a story, after all, something that happened hundreds of years earlier. They jumped in 2 cars and headed for the ridge. In contrast to its name, it was a gentle slope and the drive was peaceful. Trees grew thick by the side of the road, but everything was well maintained and well looked after. It could have been any other highway. There was nothing special about it. The group decided to get out of the cars and go for a walk. There was no excitement in sitting inside the car and looking at trees. They could do that anywhere. The area looked perfectly safe. As they were walking, they discovered an old path through the dense trees. The students laughed and joked as they entered the path. But as they did, the wind suddenly picked up. The trees rustled loudly around them, like the forest was coming to life. A deep, throaty sound rang out around them. It seemed to be coming from everywhere, the sound of a man groaning in pain. The group ran back to the car at once. The driver started the engine, wanting nothing more than to be as far away from there as possible. But then, they noticed that one person wasn't in the car yet. He was standing outside, staring at the trees. They dragged him in and sped off. "You heard that voice, right?" It sounded angry. The person they had to drag into the car turned to them. "What do you mean? I didn't hear any voice." The group were confused. They all heard it, every single one of them. He was the only person claiming to have heard nothing. Why? How could he be the only one? But the strangeness continued. When they turned around to see if the second car was following them, they saw the windscreen on the driver's side fogged up. But it wasn't just foggy. It was covered in countless handprints. What on earth was going on? The foggy window glass, the innumerable handprints, the guy who claimed he didn't hear a thing. That was when it hit them. Something was trying to spirit their friend away. Now, there are several theories as to how the ridge received its name. Perhaps the most popular is this particular story of Chosakabe Motochika and his defeat of the Zoda clan during the Sengoku era. Chosakabe went on to gain control of the entire island of Shikoku during the Warring States period, and this is said to have been just one of his battles on his way to total victory. In 1579, the clan protecting Zoda Castle was so thoroughly defeated that all those remaining, most of them gravely injured, had their heads cut off on the side of the ridge today. Thus, it came to be known as Kubikiri Ridge, the ridge where heads were cut off. Another theory suggests that the name came from a peasant uprising in 1726. The peasants were upset with rising taxes and revolted against their masters. But the revolt was unsuccessful. 147 peasants were captured, and of those, 51 were put to death. Their heads were cut off and displayed for all to see, a warning of what would happen if they tried to revolt again. The area became known henceforth as Kubikiri Ridge. Yet another theory suggests that an even more ancient battle took place between the Miura and Amago clans for control of the local castle. No matter how you look at it, the area has a long and bloody history, and regardless of which theory you believe, it's undeniable that many people have died at the ridge over the years, often in brutal and humiliating ways. In 1845, a memorial statue called the Kubikiri Ridge was erected in the area for those who were killed over the years. But rumours of ghostly sightings in the area persist, and night after night, the spirits of those without their heads are said to linger in the trees. If you're unlucky enough to run into one, you might hear something gently whisper in your ear, "Have you seen my head?" Disembodied voices are particularly common, and it's not unheard of to run into a spirit missing one of its limbs either. One story tells of a man who was driving up the ridge one night when he saw a man standing in the middle of the road. He stopped his car, thinking it dangerous to go any further. The headlights shone on the man's body, but he couldn't see his head. His clothes looked old-fashioned, not something he'd ever seen anyone wear in the modern period before. Finding the situation more and more strange, he got out of his car and went to approach the man. That was when he realized. He quickly got back into the car and put it into reverse and sped away. The man had no head, and a disembodied voice followed him all the way back down. Another story tells of a woman who went for a drive with two of her friends. This woman had a strong daikan, or ability to sense the supernatural, and as the sun was setting and they were getting ready to return home, one of her friends suggested they stop by Kubikiri Ridge on the way. The woman protested immediately. It was not a safe place to be, and it would be better if they avoided it. But her friend refused to listen, and she drove them there anyway. At the very least, she wanted to get out and have a look at the Kubikiri Ridge statue. She pulled over and got out of the car. The woman noticed the air felt heavy and oppressive. She tried to stop her friend from going, but she shrugged her off and continued up the path. The woman and her other friend waited, but 30 minutes passed with no sign of their friend. They got out and searched for her for several hours, but they couldn't find her anywhere. They went to the police and a search party was sent out, but nobody found any sign of her. She was gone, just like that. The woman suspected that the moment her friend voiced her desire to visit the ridge, it was already too late. The spirits had summoned her there and they would have what they wanted. Once more she felt that Kubikiri Ridge really was a dangerous place. One you shouldn't visit half-hearted. But what do you guys think about this one? Let me know in the comments below and I'll see you again next time.